Sometime in the last year, you woke up, swung your legs out of bed, and your lower back just ached. For absolutely no reason. You didn't run a marathon. You just slept. And as you stood there in the bathroom mirror, looking at the tired eyes staring back at you, a really quiet, terrifying thought crept into your head. I physically cannot keep hustling like this for another 20 years. But then you think about your mortgage, the kids, the cost of groceries, and your retirement account. And you realize, I have to. The internet gurus love to tell you that hitting your 40s is your wealth building prime. They tell you it's the golden decade where you finally have the money to match your experience. I'm Jim, and that is a deadly lie. Your 40s aren't your prime. They are a biological countdown. Today we are going to talk about the human capital crossover. I'm going to show you why the traditional advice will leave you physically broken by 55, how the middle-class complexity tax is silently bleeding you dry, and exactly how to restructure your entire financial life before your body officially forces you to stop. Grab a drink. We need to have a serious talk about the next 10 years of your life. Look, when you're in your 20s, your body is basically an ATM. You need money? You just go to the ATM. You pull an all-nighter. You work a 60-hour week. You eat a terrible slice of pizza at 2 a.m. Wake up 4 hours later, and you just do it again. You don't even think about it. Your energy, what economists call your human capital, is totally maxed out. But your bank account, your financial capital, it's practically zero. You have nothing. So you trade your sweat and your time for cash. That's how the game starts. And it's fine. It's what you're supposed to do. But here's the dirty little secret that nobody tells you when you blow out the candles on your 40th birthday. Those two lines, your physical energy and your money, they are on a collision course. Around 40, your human capital starts to dip. You know exactly what I'm talking about. You can't bounce back from a bad night's sleep. The stress at work doesn't just annoy you anymore. It actually raises your blood pressure. You feel it in your chest. This is the human capital crossover. If you hit this crossover point and your financial capital hasn't crossed the line and started going up, you are in deep trouble because you are heading toward biological bankruptcy. At 55, you physically won't be able to hustle like a 25-year-old. But if you don't have the assets to replace your labor, you're going to be forced to try. And that is a miserable way to live. So, why do so many smart, hardworking people completely mess this up in their 40s? It's because they fall for the maintenance mode illusion. I see this all the time. A guy hits 42, 43. He finally gets the director title. He's got the house with the 2-car garage. He's making decent money, and he just exhales. He thinks, all right, I made it. I fought the battles. I climbed the ladder. Now I can just put it in cruise control. He puts his career and his finances into maintenance mode. But man, let me tell you, in the modern economy, there is absolutely no such thing as maintenance mode. If you are standing still, you are actively dying. Inflation is eating your paycheck. The 24-year-old kid in your office who knows how to use AI better than you is coming for your job. Your 40s are not the time to coast. It's actually the time where you have to violently reinvent yourself. But reinventing yourself is exhausting, right? And that brings me to the biggest drain on your life right now. I call it the complexity tax. Life in your 40s is just dense. It's messy. You aren't just worrying about yourself anymore. You're sandwiched. You've got kids getting closer to college age, which is terrifying. You've got aging parents who suddenly need your help with doctor appointments. You've got a mortgage, 2 cars, home repairs, insurance policies, and a career that demands you answer emails at 8 p.m. You have a million tabs open in your brain. And because you are so overwhelmed, what do? You start throwing money at the complexity. You don't have time to cook, so you spend $80 on DoorDash. You don't have the mental energy to deal with the yard, so you hire a guy. You feel guilty that you work so much and barely see your kids, so you buy them expensive stuff to overcompensate. You are paying a massive, silent complexity tax every single month just to keep your head above water. You're bleeding cash just to maintain the chaos. The people who actually win this game, the ones who wake up at 55 and actually own their lives, they do the exact opposite. When they hit 40, they engage in something called ruthless pruning. Like a gardener cutting dead branches off a tree so it doesn't die. They look at their life and they start cutting the fat. And I don't mean just canceling Netflix. I mean cutting out toxic friends who just want to go out and blow money. I mean saying no to the promotion that pays 15% more but requires 40% more travel. They actively shrink the complexity of their life so they can protect their energy and keep their money. They understand that at this stage in the game, they have to completely change their identity. Look, from age 20 to 35, you were a hunter. That was your identity. You woke up, grabbed your spear, ran out into the corporate jungle, and you chased down a paycheck. You dragged the meat back to the cave to feed your family. You were a good hunter. But you cannot be a 55-year-old hunter. You will have a heart attack out there in the jungle. Your 40s are the decade where you must pivot from being a hunter to being an architect. An architect doesn't run around chasing animals. An architect sits down and builds a farm. They build a system. Every time you take a chunk of your paycheck and you buy an index fund, or you put a down payment on a small rental property, or you spend your weekends building a little online business, you are building a farm. You are putting seeds in the ground. You are buying assets that do not require your physical sweat to grow. You have to buy back your own time because your time is getting more and more expensive biologically. You have to build a system where the money shows up whether you get out of bed that morning or not. And I know, right now you're thinking, Jim, that sounds great, but I just want to make it to retirement so I can finally go to the beach. Listen to me. If your goal is just to retire and sit on a beach, you are going to be miserable. The beach gets boring after about 6 days. Trust me. The actual goal of your 40s, the reason you prune the complexity, the reason you build the farm, is to buy something much, much more valuable than a vacation. You are trying to buy immunity to judgment. I want you to picture the 55-year-old guy who is still broke, still living paycheck to paycheck. He is terrified. He goes to work and he has to laugh at his 38-year-old boss's terrible jokes. He has to bite his tongue when he's disrespected. He has to care about the office politics. He has to care about what his neighbors think of his car. He is a hostage to society's judgment because he needs their money to survive. Now picture the architect, the guy who spent his 40s building the farm. When he turns 55, he walks into a room and he doesn't need anything from anybody. If the boss asks him to work the weekend on some pointless project, he can look him dead in the eye and say, "No, I'm not doing that." And his heart rate doesn't even spike. He wears what he wants. He says what he means. He doesn't have to prove his worth to his neighbors, his family, or his employer. He is completely, totally immune. That is what true financial freedom actually feels like. It's not a Lamborghini. It's the quiet confidence of knowing that you own your own existence. But you cannot buy that immunity at 55. It's too expensive by then. You have to start putting it on layaway right now in your 40s while you still have the paycheck, while you still have the energy. Look, I know you're tired. I know the mortgage is heavy and the kids are loud and the job is draining. But this window you are in right now, this 10-year stretch, it is the most critical biological and financial window of your entire life. You can keep trying to hunt. You can keep paying the complexity tax. You can keep pretending you're invincible. Or you can put the spear down, pick up the blueprints, and start building your farm. So here is what I want you to do tomorrow. When you wake up and you swing your legs out of bed and you feel that little ache in your back, don't just pop an Advil and ignore it. I want you to actually listen to it. That is your biological alarm clock going off. It is literally your body telling you, hey man, the rules of the game are changing. You have a choice to make this week. You can hit snooze, grab your spear, and go blindly running back out into the jungle to pay your complexity tax. You can keep pretending you have unlimited energy. Or you can sit down with your coffee, look at your bank statements, and figure out exactly what your farm is going to look like. I really want to hear from you guys on this, and I want you to be totally honest down in the comments. What is one piece of complexity tax you are paying right now? Is it a subscription you don't even use? Is it an expensive obligation you only keep up with just to impress people you don't even like? What is the one thing you are going to ruthlessly prune from your life this weekend? Just put it down there in the comments. Putting it in writing is the first step to actually cutting it out. I read almost all of them, and I want to see what you guys are finally letting go of. If this video woke you up today, do me a massive favor and hit that like button. It tells the algorithm that we are completely done with the maintenance mode illusion, and we are ready to actually own our lives. And hit subscribe if you want to keep breaking down these invisible systems with me every single week. I'm Jim. Put the spear down. Start building the farm. And I'll catch you guys in the next one.